ونحن المسلمون نحن الأمان. The Muslims of the world, our voices must be heard. Our voices speak the truth. People of the world, let's stop all abuse. And we are the Muslims of the world.
On behalf of the African and immigrant communities of America and the larger community at large, I'm very delighted and happy to convene this connection. Why did we came together this morning is very important. My good friend, Commissioner Bradshaw, I met him a couple of weeks ago. Whenever we meet with our commissioner, he is a doer, he's a mover, he is a shaker, and discuss a number of vital issues of the community, and suggested also to address the ongoing concern and the needs of the community vis-a-vis the safety of our all citizens. And he graciously agreed. In a number of occasions, we work in a number of projects with Commissioner Bradshaw. Together we have, with the city of Clarkston, organized last year a lot of useful community work. We had at Georgia State University job fair, over 1,000 people employed. We have in African and immigrant communities work internationally, outreaching the needs of even the global citizens. As I'm going to show you in my slide, I believe in, we are in a global village. With the State Department, working together, extended my visit and work in peace building in that part of the world. And we have a lot of common issues here at locality. And I will also just acknowledge the presence of all of you who really honor us and come into the community. You have seen the agenda. I'm going to put the slide in the PowerPoint so that we go through it. The first round, what I would like to do is, starting from Commissioner Bradshaw, to address the community, the needs of the community, the priorities he set for District 4. A lot of good work has been really done and going on, and we would like to hear from our Commissioner Bradshaw. Then we're going to be hearing an opening from DeKalb County Public Safety Director. And then we're going to be hearing from our district attorney, Sherief is with us. We're going to be hearing from the Sherief with us, and we have a judge in our county as well. So we have a number of important figures in our community as an introduction, and then we have a member of the community also coming on board and raising their issues. And my good friend, Pastor Morn, and many as we speak, some of them are running late. Initially, we were trying to do the meeting only small, condensed group. As I was discussing with the communities, the community requested really to expand it further. And that's why we have a little bit more participants to address our all common issues and addressing on the agenda. So just before we go through the agenda first, I'll give like about 3 minutes an introductory to the work you are doing and the services, the challenges from your perspective that you see in your respective work. And then we take it from Commissioner. The Cypress Fair floor is yours.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Bradshaw. I represent District 4 on the County Commission and serve as presiding officer. I want to thank my good friend, Imam Wazir, for the invitation to be here as a part of this. I'm honored. Public safety has been a focus of mine, a concern of mine since I took office almost 4 years ago. And I can say that we have outstanding leadership in our public safety function. We're fortunate to have Director Lumpkin, Chief Ramos, also the various leaders in law enforcement and public safety throughout the county, our great Sheriff Maddox, our great DA Boston, our Judge Morris. I'm not sure if I'm leaving out anybody, but you know, this is a team effort across the board. And I also want to acknowledge my pastor, Pastor Morn, who is a great spiritual leader, and obviously honored to be a part of his flock. Now, obviously, all of us are aware of the unfortunate and the tragic incidents with regard to policing that have occurred around this country. And people are rightly concerned. To date here in DeKalb County, we've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had that kind of unrest and incidents that we've been seeing in other parts of the country. However, having said that, that could change with one incident today or tomorrow. So to get out in front of those issues and try to head them off before they happen. So obviously this is not my field of expertise. So at this point, I'm going to listen, keep my mouth shut and my ears and eyes open, and I will yield back to my good friend, the Imam Wazir.
Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw, for the work that you're doing for the District 4 member of your community, and you are really one of our very powerful voice in the government, listening to us always. Your door remain open to hear the concern of the citizens. We appreciate it for your work. And now
Thank you for yours.
Let's now go to our director, public safety director. Mr. Lumpkin, if you would educate the member of the community, the area and the flow of the police structure. I know you have 4 majors and how they structure, the firefighters, all is all under your control. If you would enlighten us, and what are the challenges you're facing with your police department, and what help also you may need from the community. So the floor is yours, Mr. Lumpkin. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Imam. The public safety department in the DeKalb County consists of, as you say, the police, which is the most visible arm of government, the fire, rescue, the 911 communications, the DEMA, which is emergency management that plans for and helps direct in critical situations, animal service, and the medical exam. The basis of the public safety is what we desire to do in all the departments, is to serve the citizens and visitors of DeKalb County, to serve them well, to protect them, and to build trust with them. And this activity today, this meeting, is one of those trust building meetings. You don't build trust in the middle of episodes or crises. We need to secure and protect the safety, health, and well-being of our citizens and visitors. We employ a mindset of constant improvement. As the CEO is fond of saying, he wants to create and sustain the best public safety department in this state and these United States. He wants the best trained, the best equipped, and the best paid public safety employees. We value relationships. As you can see, a lot of things that the Chief Ramos has done in the 9, 10, or 11 months that she's been on the board now, in terms of sharing with the community those things that the DeKalb County Police Department does and on a daily basis to help support this community, those positive things. we have to share and explain the things we do. For unfortunately, and as the Commissioner Bradshaw, presiding officer Bradshaw related, unfortunately in this country, a lot of things that the police are involved in are critical incidents and use of force of incidents. And in most times, those things are not pretty. Those things are not something that the involved officers or the citizens really want to see occur. We've been fortunate in DeKalb. We think that we have a mindset of really reducing the incidents of the use of force, the incidents we're teaching what's called an ICAD, integrated communication and tactics, to our people, trying to ensure that we don't escalate, but that we do escalate, de-escalate, while showing the dependability, the integrity, the encourage that our community expects of their public safety members. We're committed to the safety and health and welfare of all DeKalb County citizens and residents, as well as the visitors and stakeholders. As you go around, I'm certain Chief Ramos will want to explain her precincts process, the 4 precincts that we have, and the criminal investigation, as well as the support service administration. There's 3 specific divisions. And I'll yield back to you, Imam.
Thank you very much, Director Lumpkin, for the work you do on behalf of the citizens of our county. Please keep up your great work. And Chief Ramos here, she could follow up with you. Is she here yet?
Let me look at the participants. I know she's in the office. So.
Okay. Well, while she is coming, in the interest of time, let me jump to our Sherief. Our Sherief, Melody Maddox. Ma'am, welcome on board on behalf of the community, and we really appreciated your great work. If you would take this opportunity and tell us how the inmates are doing and dealing with COVID-19, yes. Some of their diagnosis was those, are they getting their treatment in prison? Are they taken out of there, going to the hospital? What is the life? I know we visited you with Congressman Johnson, you give us a tour. If you would just take this opportunity and enlighten the community, what are the challenges also you face, and how is your police also is really trained when they go out to arrest people, confrontation, escalation, de-escalation, all those tactics. If you would take it from here and give us an introduction, then we come back to other questions that people and myself we may have.
Sure. Again, thank you, Brother Imam, for putting this on. This is very much needed, and we appreciate it. But yeah, at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, we have a mission statement. First of all, our mission statement is to always demonstrate excellence, accountability, and respect in our personal and professional lives, and we value the expectations of the community, and we will always respect the rights and dignity of those we serve. And what's happening now, just to go, I know you asked about the COVID. With our COVID, the challenges that we face is just making sure that everyone is safe, not just the inmates, but we have to make sure that the officers are safe. We have to make sure that they're safe so that when they go home to their families, we look at when the inmates transition out of this agency, and we try to make sure that they have the necessary tools to be safe as they go, to stay safe, basically, as they go back to their families, or to even go out in the community. And as of right now, I have probably 13, I'm just guessing 13, 14, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, inmates and incarcerated. And out of those, as of last week, we had 1 out of 100 and something tests. We only had 1 tested positive for COVID. So we're excited about that, and want to make sure that stays the way that it is. And what we're doing now is basically working with everybody. It's about trusting the community, and we have to build that trust. And that's why this right here, the communication is so important, because we work with the Solicitor General, the District Attorney, the prosecuting attorneys, the commissioners. We all have to come together as one and to be able to understand the community and understand the diversity that makes up DeKalb County. I was the chief of police over at Georgia Piedmont Tech College, and I sat in that school rather, sat in the heart of one of the diverse communities pretty much in the county. Our officers, as far as de-escalation, we have a 40-hour mandatory crisis intervention training. And it's every year that they must attend, all of us actually must attend this particular training to understand and how to de-escalate. We have verbal judo, how to talk to people. What we've learned is not what you say, it's how you say it. And you have to be able to talk to someone. But if they're having an episode, you have to understand how to deal with that as well. So all of that is just coming with training, but it also comes with all of us working together to be able to understand it and to understand the different religions, the backgrounds where different people come from. That's very important in order to, you can't, the training is good, but if you don't understand the individuals that you're dealing with, it's not going to make a difference. So we're about working again together with the chief, the public safety director. All of us must work together. We still are one DeKalb County.
Well, appreciated, Madam Sherief, for your great work you're doing with your all the officers. Appreciate it. Gladly, we didn't have no red flag in our community, and we want to keep it that way, and so that one bad officer may give a bad image for the entire uniform officer. Now let's go to the introduction to our judge in DeKalb County. The introduction of her amazing work. She is State Bar Georgia Suicide and Prevention Committee Chair, on mental health presiding judge. Judge Shondeana is an asset like many of you. And I'll give the floor to you, ma'am, and if you would just take it from there as an introduction of the work, the challenge that you face in the court, the cases, type of cases that you see in the court, and the advices you have to the parent, and then we come back second round when we open the agenda specification to each different issues. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shondeana Cruz Morris. I serve as one of 10 DeKalb County Superior Court judges. And oftentimes people wonder what exactly is the role of a Superior Court judge. And so I will tell you that the Superior Court is a court of general jurisdiction, and we handle both civil and criminal law actions. So we preside over contractual disputes, premises liability, wrongful death, adoptions, which is the very, very happy and wonderful part of my job, as well as we also handle family law matters or divorces. We also handle criminal cases such as felonies in which there can be a sentence of 1 year or up to life without possibility of parole and death. And we work with the district attorney who is present, Madam District Attorney Sherief, who prosecutes those cases. I will tell you that DeKalb County, the average case that a Superior Court judge has in DeKalb County is approximately 850 cases. Of those, the majority of those cases are domestic or family matters. With our criminal cases, each judge of the various divisions has approximately 200 to 250 criminal matters. We also have accountability courts, which I am very, very proud of the work that we are doing in DeKalb County. With our accountability courts, people often ask, well, what are accountability courts? So accountability courts are problem-solving courts that are designed to provide alternative sentences to defendants who are typically nonviolent and have come in contact with the criminal justice system due to a substance abuse issue or mental or health disorder. So in DeKalb County, All of us, all 10 Superior Court judges, are involved with our accountability court, from drug court, veterans court, mental health court, and we also have parental accountability courts. And I will also add that our county commissioner, Steve Bradshaw, was very actively involved with our veterans court in terms of assisting us with being able to receive funding for that. So thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. Since COVID-19, a lot of people think that the courts are not open, and I will tell you that our district attorney's office, as well as the courts, are open and running 24/7, and we're doing a lot of work virtually. So just because we are not physically having in-person hearings, we are doing a lot virtually, so people are able to come and still have their matters heard before the court. From a personal standpoint, I am involved with the State Bar of Georgia's Suicide Awareness and Prevention Committee. I actually chair that committee. I am a long-standing resident of DeKalb County. I actually grew up in DeKalb County and had wonderful parents. And I will say that my father had some mental health challenges, which resulted in his untimely death. My father committed suicide when I was younger. As such, I have become very passionate and involved in suicide awareness and prevention. And I just want to give you all just some quick statistics as where we are in the country and in the state of Georgia. So in terms of suicide awareness and prevention, you all probably did not know this, but more than 48,000 people died in suicide in 2018. Approximately there is one death every 11 minutes. And in terms of what that looks like in terms of adults, many adults think about suicide or attempt suicide. There were about 10.7 million people who seriously thought about suicide. There were 3.3 million people who made a plan for suicide, and there were 1.4 million people who attempted suicide. Here in Georgia, with the leading causes of death in the state of Georgia, suicide is ranked number 10 in Georgia. So we need to bring more awareness. We need to listen, and I will talk a little bit later about some things that we can do, some resources that we have specific to DeKalb County and how we can save lives. Thank you.
Wow, it's a really amazing and alarming figures. Suicide is number 10 causes of death in Georgia. 1.4 million people are considering, and just in 2010, as you said, 48,000 people died because of suicide, and it's a serious problem. And we need to address it, and we need to talk about it on the second round, like what to do about it. We do have in our community here that's occurring, and we need to address those as well. Now let's go to our good friend, Sherief Boston, who is our district chief prosecutor. And Mom, we are very delighted to have you on board in spite of your really tight schedule. You really made it possible to join us. And if you would enlighten us, what is going on with your office and what is the challenges that you're facing. And now we have done a lot of work with her in bringing the whole member of our community. She gave us a wonderful presentation, Justice 101, empowering the community in 2018, I believe. Ma'am, go ahead, and the floor is yours, and enlighten us with your issues of concern to the community.
Thank you, Imam Wazir. I appreciate the invitation, and as always, appreciate the opportunity to address the community. I am, for those of you that don't know me, Sherief Boston, and I serve as the district attorney for DeKalb County. And prior to this, I served as a Solicitor General of DeKalb County. So for the last 10 years, I've had the honor and pleasure of working with our community. And so let me just say that, 2020 has been a true challenge for us all, given the pandemic and COVID. But as Judge Morris pointed out, we as stakeholders have pulled together and continued to make sure that we serve our community, that we serve our victims, that we make sure that our defendants' rights are not trampled on during these times, and that we have kept them safe in the DeKalb County Jail. So I'm very proud of the work that we have done over these last 30 weeks. Yes, it has been 30 weeks. And as Judge Morris rightly pointed out, we have not been closed. We have been operating in a remote space, and we have migrated to a platform that allows us to keep doing the people's business, but also in the safest manner that we can keep community spread low, and make sure that those people that work on the front lines and in the courthouse can be done in a safe manner. As we know, COVID-19 has affected the Black and Brown communities at a much higher rate than other ethnicities. And so I'm very proud of the leadership that we've had in DeKalb in recognizing the importance of masking, the importance of keeping communities spread low, the importance of making sure that our seniors get access to health care and are kept safe during these times. And also the precautions that Sheriff Maddox has taken, again, at the jail, and our police department has taken to keep everyone safe. It is certainly a coordinated community effort. What I can say is that for the DA's office, we have been operating in this remote posture for 30 weeks, but we have still maintained complete contact with all of our partners and especially with our victims. What we've seen, and what I can speak to is, we've seen, unfortunately, some upticks, especially around domestic violence. We know that there is potentially unreported child abuse going on as well. The fact that kids have been virtual in schools since March, and many people are working from home. We know that these somewhat explosive family environments are leading to increased domestic violence incidences. And also we know that when kids aren't in school, our teachers, who are often our first line of defense for looking for signs of abuse, neglect, and family violence, when they can't lay eyes on those children every day, we know that there are perhaps circumstances slipping through the cracks. So we have been working with all of our community partners, our nonprofit agencies, our law enforcement, to make sure that we continue to fill those gaps, especially around family violence. When it comes to what has happened or what we are now focused on around racial strife and police accountability in our community, I am very proud to have the community partners that I do in my police chief, in my public safety director, and in my board of commission, who I think in the 10 years that I have been in law enforcement in this community have exhibited what I would say is we've been on the forefront of policing in DeKalb County. That doesn't mean we aren't without individual circumstances and problems. As we know, everywhere, there are always going to be bad apples. But as a community and as a law enforcement community, I've been very proud of the training and the policies that have been implemented within our police department. Having said that, I think it's important for me to say that as district attorney, and I think you already heard from Director Lumpkin, and I know you'll hear this the same from Chief Ramos, is that they have implemented policies and enforced policies to ensure that there is accountability and trust between law enforcement and the community. I see myself as the second sort of line of defense. And when we have officers, whether it be at the correctional facility with the sheriff or with any of our law enforcement agencies and our local police departments, we are the second line of defense, meaning when we do have officers that violate these policies that have been outlined by our law enforcement leaders, when they go outside the bounds of their training, when they do things that are not in line with what our police department stands for, the DeKalb DA's office stands ready to investigate those matters and hold officers accountable where they have crossed the line from violating rules into criminal liability. And so we are responsible for investigating all excessive force claims that rise to the level of possible criminal liability that are referred to us by our law enforcement agencies. And then specifically any case involving the use of a firearm, where a firearm is discharged by any law enforcement agency, whether federal or state, that happens within the confines of DeKalb County and then is investigated by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, those matters are automatically sent to our office for us to investigate and render a decision whether it's justified or not. And so we do that with a level of accountability and transparency where we can, but also we maintain a line of communication with the families involved in those incidents, as well as relaying to the community where we can, shy of interfering in an open investigation. So I'm proud of the work that we do at the DA's office. We want to reassure our community. As you all may have seen, anybody that follows us and our work, our tagline is engage, protect, and restore. We want to engage the community. We want to protect the citizens of DeKalb County. And more importantly, we want to restore the trust of the community with the criminal justice system. And so I'm proud to be a part of this partnership. Thank you, Imam Wazir, for having us. And as always, we are here to answer any questions or concerns that our community has.
Thank you very much on the introduction, Sherief Boston, our district chief attorney, and assuring the community nobody is above the law, including the uniform officer, if they go offline to bring them into compliance. Appreciate it for your leadership. Indeed, you are also a big asset for our community. I see the new Chief Ramos is on board. Chief, welcome on board. And if you would address the community and outlining your different measures, what they're doing and how, in fact, we can go to the agenda item now. Number one agenda is policing in the community, how the policing is working in the community, how we can partner in fighting a crime, a common enemy. The floor is yours, ma'am. Welcome on board. I also forgot to mention the disclaimer recording. This meeting, as is important, is being recorded with your consent. It's going to be edited and also shared publicly through all social media, not for commercial reason, but empowering the community of what we're discussing in our common concern. Go ahead, Chief. The floor is yours.
Yeah, and I'm sorry because I don't have a copy of the agenda. What was the question again, sir?
I sent it to in the email, but I will put it on the PowerPoint here right now. The first agenda item is, can you see it all? Can you see the agenda?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, the first one is policing in the community.
Okay, and so your specific question was how we can police along with the community?
Yes.
Okay, well, one of the initiatives that we've started a few weeks ago, because we want to try to give the community a little special attention in the sense of we know it's sensitive times. So we've allocated several officers in each precinct that go out at least once a week. And they're out there in the community. They're out there in the apartment complexes. They're out there making business contacts. And they're out going out there for about 4 hours, and all they do is make contacts. We're trying to kind of interact with the community without them having to worry about, oh my God, I have to go back to handle these calls for service. We're just allowing them the luxury of time, which is something we normally don't have, to address the concerns of the community. Then we're coming back and we're making sure that the precinct commander has that information so that they can send the appropriate resources to address it. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback on this. I actually went out this week while they were out and met with one of the apartment managers, and she was just expressing how appreciative she was of knowing that she can have the officers come by, she can become familiar with who works in her area, and she can give us her concerns without the fear of calling 911. Sometimes people don't want to call 911. They want to be heard, and they still want to be able to express their concerns. So we're piloting that project now, and I think we're going to work to extending it to 2 days a week per precinct because it's been so beneficial. It's only been in the works for about the last 5 weeks. Like I said, one operation per detail for a few hours, but it's been so impactful so far that I think I'm going to go ahead and find a way to kind of increase that interaction with the community in that manner.
Well, it's really appreciated to see that initiative get going. And we will also we're going to come back to you back and forth to the agenda. I want to hear from our mayor, Clarkston Mayor Awet. Mr. Mayor, are you there?
Oh, thank you so much, Imam. And I first would just say I want to thank all these elected officials for taking their time and coming to listen and educate on this very important subject matter. And here in Clarkston, as you all know it, we have which is also a reality throughout most of DeKalb County. We have a very diverse community, and with that, it comes the challenge of policing is definitely harder. And so far, our police department, in collaboration, and very thankful to DeKalb County's support as well, we are doing a great job. I'm very thankful to our police chief and the whole entire police department, and as well as all the support we get from DeKalb County. And as we are facing this pandemic, a lot of issues are coming out. You know, the pandemic is shedding light on the overall challenge of mental health, overall challenge of policing and police interaction with our community in general. So this has been a challenge that has been for a lot of people of color, and now it's also just coming out and becoming more and more visible. But so far, I am very thankful for the all support that we've been getting from the community, and I really am very thankful for you, Imam, and overall the most of the faith communities here in Clarkston and throughout DeKalb County has been very helpful, and I am looking forward as we continue tackling the pandemic, and as well as on the overall social injustice. And I'm definitely looking forward to listen and learn more from these great speakers and elected officials among us. And thank you so much again. Thank you, Imam.
Appreciated, Mr. Mayor, for your oversight in the city of Clarkston, a small city with big heart. I appreciate it for all of your work you're doing on behalf of our communities. Now let's shift a little bit from the member of my community. Hibak, are you there? Hibak Ismail is a professional working in the health department. On behalf of the community, the challenge that she sees is facing the youth in our community. She will address us. Hibak, if you will go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit further and tell us what you have to prepare for our today meeting. Hibak, are you there?
Yes, I am. Do you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Hibak Ismail, and before I start, I would like to acknowledge the organizer of this very important Zoom-based meeting conference with many community stakeholders, public and law enforcement officials, and the members of the community at large. I want to thank AIC, African and Immigrant Officials, African and Immigrant Communities of America, AIC, and its CEO, who is Imam Sheikh Wazir, along with his colleagues. Basically today, I wanted to especially thank our government officials for taking time off of their busy schedules to be here to listen to our, concerns. I wanted to also thank the community leaders, the faith leaders, and everyone who showed up today for this important meeting. I have lived in DeKalb County since early childhood. I am a mother of 4 children. I'm currently working on my master's in public health, focusing on epidemiology. My bachelor's was in psychology and human services, so I do work with a lot of people, NGOs. I'm a member of this community, and I have been for years, and today I'd like to speak on some key issues that I feel most parents and youth have or are experiencing. Well, the youth in our community face many challenges, as we all know, including lately in DeKalb, we've been seeing a rise in gang affiliations, gun violence. It's caused a number of fatalities. There's also been an increase in opioid and illicit drug use and distribution. With many of these youth being first generation immigrants, many of the parents and guardians aren't aware of what's really going on, when it comes to the law, when it comes to what these kids are involved in. This leaves, with parents working very long hours to make ends meet, this leaves many of the youth susceptible to falling prey to gang influences, peer pressure, to take drugs and, participate in illegal activities. Suicide also has never really been an issue for our community, for the older generation. Due to their beliefs and, close ties to family. But within the past couple of years, we have witnessed an increase in suicides amongst our youth. And with that, and now talking about COVID, many of these children are isolated. They're not seeing their friends. And, usually kids like to interact with their friends or see their friends. And, many of our kids have been home, including mine. I have 4 kids, they're doing virtual learning. They're not interacting with a lot of people because of, the lack of, okay. I was also going to talk about the lack of knowledge in our community in regards to consequences of illegal activities. And basically the youth are throwing away their lives and futures, and our community doesn't understand how the criminal justice system works because many have not experienced or known anyone to experience anything with the courts. And Miss Sherief Boston I was a part of that meeting she had with the Justice 101 back in, I think it was 2018. And the youth, they feel like they have limited access to work. And I know DeKalb County does have a summer workforce, or they do have a workforce, but I feel like I've spoken to many parents about the summer youth programs, but there's not enough advertisement. So I know many parents will tell you, oh, my child doesn't have a job. And, the couple malls that are in our area, in our location, are basically dead. You know, they're non-existent. So kids are traveling long distances for work, leaving the youth. Some youth don't have transportation or aren't comfortable with public transportation. So which leaves them to be, you know, vulnerable to hang out with the wrong people or do things because they have so much time on their hands, which also I believe, you know, we strongly need, you know, more mentors and, you know, outlets where these children can, you know, or these youth or young adults can, you know, spend their time, have mentors, somewhere they can go and they can relate to and, you know, go and seek guidance, which, as I was speaking about suicide earlier, you know, having free or affordable mental health clinics would be something that our community needs. And, you know, we would like to, you know, because it's a taboo in our culture for mental health or to go seek a counselor or a psychologist. But I believe, you know, and many parents can't afford, not everyone has health insurance or really good health insurance. So that's another issue, maybe having more affordable healthcare providers. Also, race relations are often tense in our communities. We are often targeted due to both race and our religion. You know, like many Muslim women do wear the headscarf so people, you know, can see, but we usually, it's in Clarkston, DeKalb County is very diverse. We have a lot of people that, you know, understand our culture, but there are a lot of people moving in that, you know, sometimes there are nights that I don't feel comfortable to go out after dark because I'm scared, like, okay, what if someone targets you for what you're wearing or how you look? So basically that's some of our concerns in our community from parents and the youth, you know, having, you know, mentors or having places or outlets where kids can go seek guidance. You know, when it comes to suicide, I just heard the judge talk about, you know, saying that she would give us more resources of where to go and who to see. So we're hoping, you know, that this type of meeting and more conferences like this will happen. And, you know, hopefully more people can be involved in the community, and then maybe we'll know more, you know, we can basically have more people to come get together and maybe create, you know, more nonprofit organizations that can help the youth and parents who are seeking guidance. Thank you, Imam Wazir.
Appreciate it, Hibak, for really outlining the observation that you have in dealing with the youth challenge, what they're facing. And I'm sure most of our chief law enforcement have taken a good note. We're gonna come back to Hiba's question to ask you what's your response. Before that, I would also like to go to Pastor Morn, our good friend, your observation vis-a-vis the challenge the communities face, in particularly the vulnerable, the youth, the immigrant, the refugees, and then the larger community at large. What's your observation? What's your concern? What do you like the law enforcement community need to know? What help do we need from them?
Thank you for the invitation to be a part of the conversation. We're facing a lot of challenges. This makes my 20th year pastoring in Clarkston, which I feel probably is one of the most diverse communities in DeKalb County. I want to thank our public safety director, Director Lumpkin, and our police chief. Also, we have a police chief in Clarkston, Chief Hudson. And so we are trying to work with them by doing a one cop, one church initiative with Markel Hutchins in order to bring about these conversations on a grander scale. I think one thing that we're facing is we do not have enough things in our community that's engaging our youth, and thereby it leads to them doing more petty crimes than it really serious crime, but petty crimes actually leads to serious crimes. We had some initiatives from the county with workforce, but the funds, I think, are limited, and thereby only engaging a small percentage of the youth that need to be engaged. And we have fewer and fewer youth programs to engage them. We were working along with the DeKalb County Police Department, their PALS program, where we were doing a late night basketball, but because of COVID, we weren't able to do it this year. But by working with them, we had a greater appreciation of being able to bring in the police department, bring in the faith community, where we were able to work together, bring in employers. Even though basketball was a draw, we had employers who was giving life skill applications. And so those are some of the things that we will have to do as a community at large in order to engage public safety, along with the faith-based community, which connects us back to our community at large. Our community at large really have lost trust for our police departments, which is calling for reform. I don't think there's no great cry in DeKalb County for any defunding, but it's about reformation. How do we bring about reform where there's greater sensitivity to those that we're actually engaging with there in the street? So I think what our chief shared with us, with our police department now having individuals in each precinct that actually go into our apartment communities, actually goes and connect with our business owners and let them know that the only time you meet police is not when there's something going wrong, but let them know that they're human also. What we have started with our congregation is actually bringing in an officer from the Clarkston Police Department and having a frank discussion and answering, raising the hard questions about when there is police officers that step across the line. And I know that we may not be facing it now, but it seems from a national standpoint that it takes quite a long time for justice to be served. Anyone is held responsible. Are there any answers? And so recently in Kentucky, we've seen, well, with Breonna Taylor, that it was a great chance for that gap to be bridged, but seemed like it did not go in the manner that the majority, although we don't have access to everything that was presented, but the optics of it. And I think that's what we have to look at, is that what are the optics of what we're working with, and when we are transparent enough to keep the public informed along the way, it gives the community a chance to embrace what we're doing. And so I think that's one thing that we have to do, is always be transparent enough, early enough, for the optics to look well in the community. And as we do that, I think we'll bring everybody together. We'll start working together in tandem to bring about a systemic change in our community, where we'll bring about trust between the Black and brown community and our law enforcement officers.
Appreciated Pastor Morn for the work you do, the communities. We have a lot in common working for the betterment of our safety of member of the community. Now let's go to
the world. Our voices must be heard. Our voices speak the truth. People of the world, let's stop all abuse.
Our voices must be heard. Our voices speak the truth. People of the world, let's stop all abuse. Our voices must be heard. Our voices speak the truth. People of the world, let's stop all abuse.
We all denounce terrorism. We stand against it in deed and word. This is our belief, our unwavering idea. And we
dies ist unser Weg.